Hello and welcome to my review of the Orks Warboss in Mega Armour. Currently the only way to get hold of him is via the Orks Combat Patrol. It's a great combat patrol because it has a number of new miniatures in there and will cost you £85. I believe that this Warboss in Mega Armour will be available separately at some point in the future though, and will probably cost between £23.50 and £25. He is quite a big mini after all. In fact, he's the biggest Ork sort of HQ character, you know, that's not on a beast or in a vehicle after Ghazghkull. He looks really cool as one of Ghazghkull's bodyguard. The only sort of extra I wish he would have is a different weapon on the top, and maybe like a combi shooter and a power claw instead of that Uge Choppa, which is a brand new weapon which we've never seen before. We've had choppers, we've had big choppers, we've even had mega choppers, but we've never had an Uge Choppa, and the weapon is fantastic and it's massive. We're going to have a little close-up look at the model right now. I will say he is an easy to build, push to fit miniature. Let's pick him up and have a look. So this is the Uge Choppa. Size wise, I mean, we'll be doing a size comparison a little bit later with things, but the Uge Choppa is kind of double the size of an Ork. That just gives you some sort of idea of the size. And Ghazghkull wise, it's sort of taller than Ghazghkull, which is, yeah, again, just highlights the size of it. But he's got this grot here with a big shooter. That makes sense. It means that the Warboss has a decent shooting attack, and the grot, believe it or not, adds to the ballistic skill of the Warboss too. So you're getting best of both worlds. You're getting a big, beefy, thick Ork with an excellent melee weapon, while the Gretchin puts his gun skills into action. Fantastic miniature, and I would say it's worth getting the Combat Patrol for this mini alone. It's nice to get the Deathcopters too, but this was the key mini that I wanted to pick up in the set. There's plenty of detail. I mean, he's got a full-blown engine at the back with 3 exhausts. He's in this Mega Armour. Got the Uge Choppa, got an iron jaw. You've got big armour plates, like a motif symbol thing, and this sort of pizza cutter type Uge Choppa. Got a little bit of a scenic base just with an empty magazine there. So that's the Warboss in Mega Armour, brand new HQ choice for Orks. There are no spare parts for the model, so we'll go straight into the size comparisons. He's going to look great next to a load of Mega Knobs if you wanted to give him a bit more protection. I think Mega Knobs are one of my favourite kits, and they work very, very well with him. He even works well just as a Warboss on his own, issuing out orders. He's the biggest and bestest, I would say. So that's him next to Mega Knobs, next to an Ork boy. He's much bigger, which is great. And because you've had a good look at my Mega Knobs, let me now show you my knob right here, and you'll see that, yeah, so size wise, fantastic. You know, this is a really good scale, I would say. So you've got the normal Orks there, you've got the knobs which are kind of a head bigger, and then you've got the Warboss which is a head bigger still and much more chunkier. This is, you know, one of the best sort of size scales I've seen for 40k, where they've actually done it pretty accurately. I mean, Gretchin wise, I've got a Gretchin here, so there's your sizes, and I may well make a separate video with the sizes of Orks. This is what this is giving me motivation to do. I think some people wanted me to compare him to the Beast Boss, which is another new miniature right here. It's on the same size base, and the Warboss in Mega Armour is bigger. because of that Mega Armour. A Beast Boss is still quite chunky, but he's more wide. He's a bit more squished compared to the one in Mega Armour. Got a squig gunner there though instead, but they're both pretty good looking. But this one definitely gives me the feel of the Mega Knobs, and this one gives me the feel of the Mega Knobs, and this one gives me the feel of the Snagger Boys. So yeah, it's whichever one you like the look of really. Compared to the Warboss on Squigosaur right here, of course he's going to be bigger because he's on that Squigosaur, but in terms of Warboss, the Mega Armour is bigger, but that gives you an idea there. And finally, I just wanted to compare him to Ghazghkull and a Death Dread. So there's Ghazghkull, would be a great sort of bodyguard for Ghazghkull. You could imagine a few of these. This is why I wish this would have been a multi-part kit. I guess you could do some conversions and things with him, but you know, to have like 3 or 4 main war bosses around Ghazghkull from different clans would really help if you wanted to build some kind of like narrative bodyguard for him, conquering the galaxy. And then a Death Dread here. He is, yeah, it's not quite as big as a Death Dread, but still pretty chunky. Makes the Death Dread look a bit small now. But there we are. And then my usual size comparison with Space Marines and Slime Arbo. So normal Space Marine is a fair bit shorter than his Uge Choppa, and probably goes up to maybe his chin. Slime Arbo is tiny compared to him, just up to his chest. And then a Primaris almost gives him a run for his money. Primaris is almost eye level, but you can imagine a few Primaris captains being similar size, almost the same height, but then he's got all this extra things going on. So definitely one of the biggest single orcs that you can get. Very, very impressed. So this is my part of the review where I will go through all of the rules for the Warboss in Mega Armour. He is an HQ choice, and you'll find him on the 4th page of the HQ choices. I'm not quite sure why he isn't straight after Ghazghkull Thraka. Instead they've put a big mech with custom force field and a big mech with shock attack gun, and then a normal Warboss. I always prefer the biggest, more heavily armoured, more heavily armed HQ units to be first, and then I'd say the weaker ones moving down the scale. But it is what it is. He's an HQ choice, and he's a power points cost of a 6, making him the same power points cost as a big mech with a shock attack gun, and a big mech in Mega Armour, the Death Killer War Trike, and a little bit more expensive than the normal Beast Boss. His points cost is his straight up 115 points, and he's equipped with a big shooter and an Uge Choppa. So what do you get for these 115 points? Well, you get a movement speed of 5 inches, a weapon skill of 2+, ballistic skill of 5+, strength 6, toughness 6, 7 wounds, 5 attacks, leadership 8, and a save of 2+. So he's got a slightly different stat line than a normal war boss. You know, he's got 1 extra wound, and he's got that 2+ save. That's one of the reasons why you pick him up is his durability. You know, 7 wounds with a 2+ save and toughness 6 is very durable. So the big shooter works as usual. It's a 36-inch range, DACA 5/3, strength 5, damage 1. Now, if you don't know what the DACA rule is, essentially the first value is within half range. You want to be getting this Warboss in Mega Armour into close combat, of course. So if you're within 18 inches, he's going to be getting the 5 shots with it. The Uge Choppa is where it's at, though. It's one of the main reasons you'll pick him up. Strength +3, so yes, that's a strength 9, AP -3, damage 2. So what we're saying there is it almost has the same strength as a Power Claw, you know, 9 compared to 12. So it's going to be wounding your normal Space Marines on a 2. And then it's got the AP -3 and a damage 2, the same as a Power Claw. However, the key thing about all this is he doesn't subtract 1 from the hit roll. So he's still going to be hitting with those 5 attacks on a 2+. Abilities, here we go. War, Dead, Tough. This model has a 5+ invulnerable save. They've introduced this to 9th edition with like war bosses and bigger creatures. Normal war bosses also have this save, this invulnerable 5+. So it's a bit like a Terminator in that respect. Grot Gunner. Each time this model makes an attack with a big shooter or relic that replaces this model's big shooter, add 1 to that attack's hit roll. That's fantastic. So from 36-inch range, he's going to be firing those 3 shots, essentially at a ballistic skill of 4+. Warboss Aura. While a friendly clan core or clan character unit is within 6 inches of this model, each time a model in that unit makes a melee attack, add 1 to that attack's hit roll. Great. So, you know, within 6 inches, those characters or core units are getting 1 to the hit rolls. So again, worth having him surrounded by some knobs or mega knobs or even some boys. Keywords: Orks, character, infantry, Mega Armour, Warboss. So there you go. It's a decent HQ unit, doesn't have a lot of special rules. You know, it's got his 2+ normal, 5+ vulnerable, it's got that Grot Runner, and he's got that Warboss Aura. He kind of does what Orks do best, which is to get into combat and absolutely cause as much damage as possible. And like I say, will really go well with some Mega Knobs, or as like a, I don't know, Lieutenant to Gadsgore Thraka if you were going to play a big game. I would seriously think about putting him in a Stomper or a Gorkanaut even, possibly a truck or a battle wagon, just to give him some extra protection and speed of getting to the enemy. I think it's a fantastic looking model, and I think his rules are pretty decent too. He's certainly going to give some of the Space Marine characters a run for their money. What do you guys think though? Please do put your thoughts and opinions of this Warboss in Mega Armour down below. It's one of my favourite models of this whole release. Thank you ever so much for joining me today. Thank you for watching. For Gork and Mork.